on your Jackie Robinson Day, April 15th. And it was 1947 on this date that Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier and changed this country forever. The first black man to play Major League Baseball, and it still resonates to this day. And I love that Major League Baseball honors Jackie Robinson for what he went through, what he did, what he had to endure in order to allow black and brown players to play Major League Baseball, which was a huge, huge step back in 1947. And today, baseball celebrates Jackie Robinson today and tomorrow, which is great. It's actually today and tomorrow. All players, all on-field people will wear the number 42, which is the number that Jackie Robinson wore. And people will read a lot of stuff about Jackie Robinson today. And Chris, I have a new website out called MLBBro.com. Please go there, check out some of the stuff about Jackie Robinson. And Chris, what are your thoughts on Jackie Robinson in this day? And I think he's a hero to a lot of people.
Man, he is a great American hero. It's as simple as that. Not just to African Americans, but he should be a hero to all Americans. He is the athletic embodiment of what America has always said it stood for on paper, right? America hadn't stood for those things all the time, but freedom, liberty, and justice for all, that wasn't the case before Jackie Robinson. In sports even. I mean, it's still got issues, obviously, but even in sports, that was not the case. And so he is not only a great African-American hero, he is an American hero. And one thing I like to see, Rob, it is a sport that, let's face it, at this point doesn't have a lot of African-Americans, about 8% African-American, but yet seeing them honor Jackie Robinson the way they are, and most of the players aren't African-American, I think that just kind of highlights how he was such a hero, not just for blacks, but he should be viewed as a hero for all Americans, regardless of your race. And it's interesting, right, because we wanted to talk about, what other athletes have kind of had the type of impact that Jackie Robinson has had. And I think when you look at some of the great, African-American athletes, it's interesting as I was thinking about it, because a lot of them really embody a certain aspect of black culture that they kind of bring into the mainstream. And Jackie Robinson, I would say he was like the embodiment of the civil rights movement in sports.
Right. He
was like the Martin Luther King of sports. I think Muhammad Ali was like the Malcolm X of sports. Jackie Robinson got more done tangibly than Ali.
I was going to say, Chris, did you see the movie 42, the recent one that was done about Jackie Robinson?
With Chadwick Boseman?
The late Chad Boseman, who was great in that movie.
Yeah,
right?
It was a great
Absolutely
movie.
Great. But, Chris, I was almost in tears. You know what scene I'm talking about, where he's playing in Philadelphia and the manager is calling him all kinds of names. And, he knew he couldn't lash back out. He couldn't fight, Chris. You know what I mean? Like the way he was treated. And he understood, like you were just talking about him being closer to Martin Luther King and nonviolent. And that's why he was picked to be that guy.
Because he wasn't the best player in the Negro Leagues.
He wasn't the best player in the Negro Leagues.
Which tells you something about the Negro Leagues.
Right. The Negro Leagues were, right, because Jackie Robinson, and let's not forget, Chris and I bring this up on our show all the time, because writers get bashed all the time that we about picking people, Chris, and awards. Right. Let's just be honest. Jackie Robinson was the Rookie of the Year in 1947. And Chris, back then, there wasn't an AL Rookie of the Year and an NL, just one for the entire league. Jackie Robinson won that award. And remember, every baseball writer in the BBWAA back then was white. Every player was white. Every owner was white. Every umpire was white. And who was the rookie of the year? Jackie Robinson. Why, Chris? Because he could play.
Right.
Because he was great.
I think that speaks to, and the point you're making is the objectivity of reporters and writers who vote. Now, look, and I'm sure you agree with this, Rob. I'm sure a lot of those white writers were racist.
Probably.
But yet they were like, look, when it comes to my job, I got integrity. And this was the best player. So I'm voting for him. And so you're right, because we catch flack all the time, whether it's all-star games or MVP awards.
The writers just don't like him. They got to axe the grind, this stuff.
Y'all better be happy that the players don't pick the MVP.
Yes.
Real talk.
Yes.
I mean, Rob, you bring it up all the time. When they first let the players vote for all-star, 130 or something like that didn't vote for LeBron. Even more didn't vote for Durant or something. It was ridiculous.
Right.
So stop it. I mean, we're the ones, we're not tooting our own horn, but let us vote. Because we don't have a horse in the race, really.
And I think the Jackie Robinson voting tells you all you need to know. Seriously, I think for that time. But, Chris, when you think about great players who have made an impact in this country, I don't know if there's anybody bigger than Jackie Robinson, but we would love to hear from people and their thoughts. 877-99 on Fox. Muhammad Ali is right up there, Chris, as well.
It's different ways in which things were done. As I said, I would equate Jackie Robinson to the Martin Luther King of sports. Like you said, nonviolent, turn the other cheek, took all the slights and insults and, just
and still excel.
Went through it, right, and still excel. Muhammad Ali was more like a Malcolm X. And Muhammad Ali, you can't point to a ton of tangible things necessary. Laws changed and things like that. But psychologically, he had such a great impact on the African-American community and really, in turn, America as a whole. That's what Malcolm X was. Malcolm X stood up to the system, said what he wanted to say, called out wrongdoing by whites anytime he wanted to, and that's what Muhammad Ali did. Malcolm X didn't change laws and things like that, but Chris, he stood up like a man, and that's what people loved about Muhammad Ali. He was unashamedly black, period.
100%. And the thing that I always think of Muhammad Ali is black pride. Like he was a prideful man, and he made it like it was good to be black. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think that's what he was able to relay to the masses and the black people that, black pride, black power, like that's what he did.
He was the embodiment of that in sports. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep, you're right. And to drive the point home about certain athletes embodying a portion of black culture and pushing it into the mainstream. Now, this guy is not on the level of Jackie Robinson and Ali by any stretch as far as his impact. Well, I was going to bring up, I think you might think I'm bringing up somebody else. I was going to say Allen Iverson in terms of the hip-hop culture.
I thought you were going to say LeBron, for the stuff that he's done. We'll get to LeBron.
I would, yeah. So I was just going to say that's another example of the embodiment of a part of black culture is Allen Iverson with the cornrows and bringing that into mainstream society. Let me get to LeBron because, Rob, LeBron, man, he has done so much. Now, obviously, I mean, somebody broke the color line. That was Jackie Robinson. Nobody can compare to that.
No.
Ali, like you said, just the courage and the black pride he displayed. But LeBron, I think, Rob, LeBron is setting a blueprint. And a lot of people think of the More Than a Vote, which was great. A lot of people think of the Trayvon Martin post with him in the Miami Heat with the hoodies. Great. Right. He's been outspoken about it. That's great. But And that's good. And I salute him for that. And I'm proud of him for that and happy he does it. But it doesn't take as much courage to do that today as it took when Muhammad Ali was doing it.
No,
but,
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
because
great that
Muhammad Ali,
he ain't as courageous for me and you to do it, right? As it took Ali. We could do it too, but it's just a different time. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say Muhammad Ali didn't know if he'd ever box again or make a living,
Right.
Chris. He didn't know. You know, LeBron is a gazillionaire, has plenty of money no matter what, and they can't really hurt him.
He could not play another game for the rest of his life, and his generations upon generations are sad. But you brought up a great point, Rob, that people lose when they think about Ali. People think of him as, oh, he had to take 3 years off because he didn't go to Vietnam. And we talk about it like he knew he was coming back.
Right.
For all he knew, everything he had worked for since he was 12 years old and started boxing, he threw it away. Not for because he was acting up, but for a legitimate cause. He was willing to walk away from his individual dream for what he felt was the higher moral principle.
And for the greater good. Not too many people are willing to do that, Chris.
No.
That's why Colin Kaepernick, when you think about where he was in his career and what he did, Chris, the mistreatment and the brutality by police, that didn't happen to him or to his family member or anything. These were people he didn't even know.
Right.
Think about that.
You're right. And he didn't even grow up like that. He grew up with a white family.
Exactly. So for him to take that kind of responsibility and step out there and give up all that he had worked for as an NFL quarterback speaks volumes. So Kaepernick is another guy we can include in the conversation.
I agree.
Chris, we got some
and
calls.
A lot of people won't want to include him in there, but
I would.
He gave up his career. And I think, Rob, a lot of people talk about, you know, well, he did. Some people say, oh, he did it for publicity or what. No,
nonsense.
To me, if he was a star, if he was still a star, because remember, he was a star for about 2 or 3 years.
Right.
If he was still a superstar, it would have been easier to do it because he was so good, they would have kept him in the league.
But he was a fringe player at that point.
He was a backup. To do that as a backup is huge and shows that it really means something for you. Let me throw this out, though, before we go to the callers, Rob. LeBron James.
Yep.
I don't want it to be lost what he's doing. When I say I really believe, Rob, that LeBron James is setting the blueprint for what African-American athletes should be doing today. And by what I'm saying is, Rob, you and I remember we were covering the league when kind of entourages became big, right? Yep. You know, got brothers, you know, make it to the league and they got 3 or 4 of their best friends that they grew up with just hanging around them. They kicking it, traveling with them, all that, fine.
Free
LeBron,
drinks.
right. I mean, and they your boys, so they didn't mean to do it, and you certainly didn't mean to do it. But in a lot of cases, they end up just sucking your money.
Right, hangers on her. Right, hangers on.
Because they just you paying for everything for them, and they're not developing themselves in their career or anything. LeBron said, "Look, I got my boys. I'm gonna put you guys in position. I'm gonna use my position to put you in position to become moguls in your own right." And Rich Paul has become right now, he's arguably the most powerful agent in the NBA. You got Maverick Carter, who is now a media mogul with Spring Hill Entertainment and all of that. And there was just some news that, they're going to, you got Space Jam coming out, but now they're going to do House Party, which I think would be great because I thought that was a great movie. So they're doing a remake of House Party. But my point is, I would like to see these brothers, instead of just having your boys hang out and kick it with you, you can do that too, but put them in position to empower themselves. When LeBron retires, Rich Paul still be powerful. Maverick Carter still be powerful. And then people they've brought up under them. I would like to see more guys do that. Send your boy to college. Yeah, I mean, seriously, say you got 6 years to graduate, my man. Right. When you come out, you can be my business manager, whatever. But use your connection to Nike to get them a job with Nike. Rob, you know that. That's how this business works. Yep. Who you know, or this corporate world. So LeBron, I don't want it to be lost what he's done. He's taking it to a new level. So I'll put him in that group.
Okay, that's fair. 877-99 on Fox. Let's go to Eddie in Seattle. You're on the Dan Patrick Show, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Eddie?
Hey, guys. I'd like to say you all are a breath of fresh air, and I'd like to commend you before I do my comment on how you try to always keep things positive, even on serious subjects. Dan Patrick and Amy Adams does that as well. It's very appreciated. You're not selling wolf tickets or things like that. It's really appreciated. I have two to add. I would add Michael Jordan, money-wise. I don't think anybody's going to ever give LeBron credit. It'll be years. It's like he's one of those people that people hate so much that I can't even enjoy him sometimes when he plays. But
now,
I would add
are you
Michael,
on the side of love him or hate him?
Oh, I love him.
Okay, because I think a lot of people love LeBron.
But he's polarizing.
He's polarizing.
Yeah,
he gets
I feel
love
like
too, but he's polarizing.
Yeah. I think it's a media polarization. And then I would add Jack Johnson. So mine would be when I saw Hank when he ran around the bases when he broke Babe Ruth's record. Right. I thought the guy that ran out there was going to kill him personally.
Right.
So I'm with you on the.
You're right. I'm surprised Hank didn't respond like that. You know.
Yeah.
Like punch the dude or something. Like,
Thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it. How about Susan in Florida? You're on the Dan Patrick Show, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Susan?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
You know, I'm thinking about with Jackie Robinson and how brave Branch Rickey was to have Jackie Robinson play, because you can almost anticipate the hatred that was going to come from the stands and some other players and maybe the opposing manager. So it was good to see that. I mean, I wasn't born yet, but I heard the story of that. And while I'm at it, I don't know if you are aware, but in the American League, there was also a black player that was one of the very first to break a black, but I don't remember his name or what team he played for.
Yep, Larry Doby came a couple of weeks later, and he played for the Cleveland Indians.
Okay.
And a great man. Thanks, Susan, for the call. Chris, you remember when he was with the Nets, right? He was a Nets front office guy.
Yep.
Larry Doby, and I got to meet him and get to know him, and what a great man Larry Doby.
And you're right, he does get lost in history. I'm glad you brought him up. Yeah,
because it was only 2 weeks later after Jackie. Ed in Wisconsin, you're on the Dan Patrick Show, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Ed?
Hey, man, what's up? Thank you for all you do. Your previous caller stole a little bit of my thunder, but to expand upon her thought, Mr. Branch Rickey, if you guys may or may not know, he consulted Joe Louis because Jackie Robinson actually, when he was in the military, punched a superior officer and knocked him out. And Branch Rickey was thinking twice, but he consulted with Joe Louis because Joe Louis knew him very well, and Joe Louis vouched for him. And
Ed, you know what I love in that? If you saw the movie 42 and you know Branch Rickey's full story, it wasn't like he was just a saint and wanted to do right. Like, he was a businessman, Branch Rickey.
Correct.
And the reason he did this was he had a team in Brooklyn that wasn't selling tickets, and he sees all these black people walking around the streets of Brooklyn, and he's like, how can I get those people in my ballpark? That's really what. Am I right? I mean,
correct.
Sound like Bear
I could
Bryant.
not agree with you more.
I'm getting stomped.
Let me
get some brothers.
Exactly. But
All right, thank you for the call.